Welcome everybody to the Mansfield Buzz.
Welcome to Mansfield Buzz with Jordan and Hurley. Local business stories, let's dive in early. Jordan asks the questions, brings stories to light. Hurley runs a tech, keeps production tight. Build trust in a town, discover and explore hidden gems and stores you never heard before. Community connection, that's what we're about. Tune in, join us, see what Mansfield's all about.
Hey, welcome everybody to the Mansfield Buzz. This is your host, Tony Burke. Your other host sitting right over there is Jordan. And we got Russ and we got Sherry with Promotional Solutions. They're going to be with us a few minutes. But if you're just joining us, we're on the Mansfield Buzz today. You can check us out right here on good old YouTube. You can go to youtube.com at Mansfield TX Buzz. And Jordan, darn it, our goal for the end of July was 200 subscribers. We're at 194. We need six people to subscribe today. And y'all guys can also comment if you want, say hi, ask questions, let us know you're there. Hit the thumbs up button right underneath this video on YouTube. It helps the YouTube algorithm to let us know that we are in fact doing good, and that they put that relevant content up there when they see a lot of likes on it. Now, I will tell you, a lot of people listen to our stuff on demand after it's over because they like to listen to stuff at their own time. Jordan, the cool thing is I just went back and looked at the total number on the channels, and we're looking pretty good. For a local channel where we're not being national, we're close to 30,000 total views, and we're getting real close to the 20 or 2,000 watch time hours, which means we're about 1,000 hours from monetization of the channel if we want to on chat. Which reminds me, starting next week, I'm going to have a PayPal button created where people can donate and support us through a PayPal QR code as opposed to waiting to YouTube to monetize us. So I'll have that launched next week. And I think Jordan's going to come back. We're going to stop our show after 5 questions start next week, and we're going to call what we call the Mansfield Buzz Flashback, where we pull up a 30-second clip from a past show and play it so we can keep reminding folks to check out the people that we've done business with on here and our local businesses that you should all go back and listen to and pay attention to. So with that said, everybody, welcome to the Mansfield Buzz. Yours truly is in Austin, Texas today. Love this technology, Jordan, because I can travel, still be on using our stream servers direct to YouTube. And we're also on Facebook, and we're also streaming live on LinkedIn. And very few people realize we're streaming to 3 live places as we speak. So Sherry and Russ, welcome to the Mansfield Buzz.
Thanks. We appreciate being here.
And here's what I'm going to do, Jordan, real quick, so you can jump in with them. I'm going to pull this up. We're going to do our icebreaker section, and Jordan's going to jump in, and we're going to start firing some questions, and we're going to talk about promotional solutions today. So glad to have you too, and we'll be right back for the icebreaker. All right, we're back for the icebreakers. Jordan, all yours, buddy.
Let's do this. Welcome to the show. I'm so excited. Today's such a treat. Getting you both in the same show. That's going to be nice. So now for icebreakers, I actually wanted to ask you, and Sherry, this one's for you. You and I had a very interesting conversation that I'd love for you to share with us, but tell me a little bit about metal detectors and what you could do with them.
So metal detectors are amazing gifts for grandchildren. It makes them go outside. They wear earmuffs so they're not going to hear anything that you might be saying because you're a little warm outside. And they have to be quiet while they're hunting. So I have found every one of my grandchildren needs one for, by the time they turn 4, they're ready to metal detect.
That is awesome. And talk about turning every outing into a treasure hunt, like literally.
Well, they get bored if they're not hunting anything. So it's always good to go out and throw some change out in the yard or something. So there are treasures to be found.
That's a fun idea.
And
that's a fun idea.
Well, depending on how long you want to stay out in the heat, that's how far you throw them. Our treasures are always in the shade. It just works out that way. And we can find them really quick. They're not very, very deep.
That is
Great idea.
It's just brilliant. You were telling me about it, I was like, wow.
I thought the reason you were going to tell me you did that was because you can spend, once they've been with you for a couple hours, you can get away from them for a few minutes and take a break. But you're actually talking about throwing quarters and dimes and nickels and coins and stuff out there for them to find. That's pretty cool. I like it.
There's a whole
I
system
like
to this.
And I like it.
Oh, well, that's nice to get us nice and warmed up. So to get started with the show, one thing that I love to ask you guys, and Russ, this is your third time on the show, so I've gotten really awesome answers from you before. So I'm curious on this one, what led you down this path? Why Promotional Solutions?
Well, actually, it was an accident. So the journey started with being an auctioneer and getting an auctioneer's license. And then it transformed into, because we were an auctioneer, we needed to have a federal firearm license. This is the short version. And because we had the federal firearm license, we needed to open up a storefront. And then we discovered that in the firearm industry, you're looking at a 20 to 30% margin, which makes it really difficult to pay the bills. So we were looking for something with larger margins that would also be compatible with the firearm industry and also the rodeo culture. Consequently, we wound up with the promotional business. That's it. That's where the story ends. Okay.
That means he doesn't want you to ask
No more
me.
businesses.
Just keep up picking up more adjacent ones as you go.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So no, that's how we really did it. It started. The whole thing started when I decided to get my auctioneer's license, and then it's just kind of trickled down from there.
Yeah, that definitely snowballed. We touched up a little bit too with the firearms store too, so that's cool that we get the other side of the story. And so going down with the promotional solutions, what service do you guys provide? Because promotions can be interpreted in many different ways.
Broad.
Yeah.
Sure. Why don't you go ahead?
Basically, if you have anything at all that you would like your name or your logo on, we do it. So whether it's in print, engraving, embroidery, pop-up canopies, signs out front, anything that you could put a name or a logo on, that's what we do.
Wow.
And the what that enables us to do as well, as opposed to being just a promotional company, we really are a branding company. In other words, someone can come to us and they can say, okay, we really want to project an image. We want to project a brand. We want something that's very recognizable, like Coca-Cola, GMC, Chevrolet, so on and so forth. And we can tie everything together. It's not just embroidery or what you're wearing or the hat that you're wearing, but literally everything that you do, we can tie it together and create a brand or an image that people will think of when they see your branding.
And I love that you're mentioning that, because I think some people mistake a advertising campaign from a branding campaign, and it's really important. And I love that you're bringing that up, because it's an important thing to be guided, especially if you're not thinking about it too much. So I'd love for you to talk a little bit more about that, and especially like what's the most important things companies should consider when starting a branding campaign.
Well, one of the things, and one of the first things that we ask most companies is what's your budget? Okay, what is it that you have to spend in order to be able to create the brand? And we do understand that being reasonably cost reasonable is absolutely very, very important. But sometimes companies come to us and they want it to be so cheap and so inexpensive that we really hate to even buy those items, because what's going to happen, the items, they're not quality items, and that's the image you're going to leave behind.
Mm-hmm.
We talked before the show started, we're talking about a perfect example is ink pens. Well, you can buy ink pens with your logo or your name on them for 25 cents a pen, all the way up to $10, $20, $30, $40 a pen. And so if you go the 25-cent route, chances are that they're going to pick that pen up, your potential customer. They're going to, take it to the car, especially in the Texas heat, and they may wind up at the car and that pen's leaked all over their shirt. Well, they are not going to be real happy with your branding. And it's going to portray that image of, cost is all they're concerned about. In other words, cheap is it. Quality doesn't enter into the factor. So it's a balance between what is reasonable as far as cost is concerned, and also what quality do you need, or what image do you want to project, and then make sure that we marry those two.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And it's an important thing to remember. Branding is, a lot of it is about subtlety and consistency. So if you're presenting yourself in a better light, then also the subtleties of the quality of the materials. I mean, we don't think so, but even like thickness of a business card, the quality of a pen, all those things, even the quality of a shirt, right? Like you could have an embroidered shirt with your logo, but if that shirt just looks raggedy or, of low quality, that has an effect.
Sherry's in the field way more than I am. So why don't you tell some stories about the quality and the stuff that you find when you're out there talking to different groups?
And I think the telltale sign is when you even are walking up and talking about wearing a logo apparel, you are your best advertisement. And people are like, well, I'm wearing mine, but do you see how it's wrinkled? It doesn't lay flat. I'm like, yeah, we can help you with that. So there's a huge difference in just having a logoed shirt versus one that really has that type of quality. A lot of times if you look at lettering, the stitch count between the letters itself, they don't trim them, and it just makes it a little sloppy. So yeah,
and I can attest to that, because I've seen you doing quality control on work, and when the lettering is just not crisp and it's just not, like, the legibility is not there, you'll reject it and crank it back out. And that goes a long way, because I have seen so many embroidered logo shirts where I just cannot read it. It's just something.
So Jordan, I would say a local thing they did, which is really cool because we've had her as a guest on our show, right, was Patty. And on the show we wore Make Travel Great Again hats, the red with the white lettering. That was produced by these guys right here. So yeah. Mm-hmm. And we wear them on the show, just so you know.
Yeah.
Yep. And I should mention that you hand deliver those right before we went live, because it was a rush order and you took care of it. And you're right up there with it right before we went live.
Absolutely. That's one thing that I feel sets us apart. We do have amazing clients, and I don't know anybody that hasn't had something last minute, a wonderful idea, or something happened and they're behind the curve. And if at all possible, we are going to turn that around and make sure they're taken care of.
Yeah, and you do. You do a good job.
Now, for those that are not familiar with you guys, where are you located?
We're located right here in Mansfield, Texas. If you know where the El Primo's or the Vault restaurant is on Country Club in Matlock, we are on the other end, right behind kickboxing. Nice. So we can either find you there, or if it's after hour, we'll probably find you at El Primo's. Maybe.
Maybe,
yeah.
Possibly.
Actually, all three of their businesses are within throwing a stone to each other. So they're all in that same block. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Did El Primo's have anything to do with that?
Does El Primo's? Well, if you've got a bad day at the office, if your boss comes in and is really creating havoc, it's good to have somewhere close to just.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
That's funny. And we do some work for El Primo's. El Primo's and the Vault, I mean, they're great partners.
Yeah.
Todd Fenori, who owns them, in fact, he's actually our landlord. He owns the whole center. We've been friends for 30 years. And
wow.
There are very few people in Mansfield who have given as much to this community as Todd has, and El Primo's and the Vault. So we feel very blessed to be in the position that we're in.
Yeah, you're right next door. It's very, very cool.
That's awesome. And what areas do you guys serve?
We can ship nationwide. So we are happy to do business. Some of our best clients are in Houston and San Antonio.
Oh, and that's actually a really good leading question here, because I know you guys have some really cool clients. Are you guys allowed to tell us some of your customers that we would recognize?
Well, probably the two biggest are we do a lot for the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo. We're very involved with them and do the promotional items for several of their committees. We also do promotional items for the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. We are official vendors for both of those entities, and really enjoy that relationship. We both of us enjoy that Western rodeo culture and everything that it encompasses. So those are probably our two most famous, if you will, customers. We have Black Tie Affairs, which is a large catering organization in San Antonio.
Oh, cool.
We do all of their stuff.
One of my very favorite clients to go visit is out in the huge town of Marfa, Texas. So we do Cibolo Creek Ranch out there, as well as Cumberland Estates.
Right. What about here locally?
Here locally, oh my gosh.
Everybody, us. I mean, you're working on stuff
we
for
do.
us.
You guys, we do.
Jonathan Killian and his insurance agency.
Dreammaker Vacations, you know, all these people. And just about everybody in our network group has used Sherry at some time or another. And there's probably 60 or 60 people on average in that group. So Sherry touches base with them just about every Wednesday. And I know they're always saying, Sherry did this, Sherry did that. So a lot of folks, a lot of local folks for sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And how long have you guys been in business?
Well,
4 years.
yes,
4 years. This business, 4 years.
Yeah.
We've been in the Mansfield area in the business community for 30 years. We own the Children's Academy on Country Club Drive, and started that in 1996 when Country Club was literally a 2-lane road. And there was no Texas Trust. There was no fire station across the street. There was no Brookdale retirement home. We were pretty much the only commercial building on the road at that point.
Wow.
Jordan, it was a dirt road then too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was 30 years ago. Then the firearm store was about 5 years ago. And then the promotional store about 4 years ago.
Cool.
Okay. That's really cool. I didn't know that was the most recent endeavor. That's pretty cool.
The most recent and final.
But the last one, yes.
Final.
Right.
Final, right.
That's awesome. You know, and I'm glad you brought that back up, because you guys have been in the business, the Mansfield business space for some time, but I can see this thread of just customer service showing through in all the different businesses. So again, a bit of a leading question, but I was wondering how you guys are different from other promotional companies, and I'm willing to bet your customer service has something to do with it.
We have said that's what we strive. We really always want to do or give back a little more than expected, whether that's an extra item we put in, someone who's needing something done by Friday, we'll do our best to give them a call on Thursday. If they're coming from out of town and get tied up, we always say, don't worry, we'll just meet you at the shop. And I think that goes a long ways. Being able to have your own brick and mortar, it is truly more business. If we're officing or having our machines in a garage, that feels far different to say, just come by my house and drop it off. So I think it sets us apart in that we have great employees, great staff. They also go above and beyond. They're not clock watchers ready to walk out. They're there to get the job done and do the best that they can possibly do.
We could do, in fact, a lot of promotional companies do drop shipping, where you order from whoever the promotional company is. They simply take the order. They send the order to a third party who produces it. the third party then ships it right straight to the customer, and the company you're dealing with never even sees it or touches it. We don't do any of that.
Right.
Now, we do have some third-party vendors that we use, but everything is shipped to us. It's inspected by us before it goes to the customer. So our customers never have to send anything back, because if it's not perfect, it doesn't go out. We'll redo it. And that quality and that quality image is very, very important to us.
And I would also think that having your own in-house equipment for certain things that helps a lot too, because then you can kind of project your delivery a little bit better. You're not at the mercy of a third party not completing an order when the deadline was set. So tell us a little bit about because I've been in your shop literally, and I've seen all this equipment. You have embroidery machines. Is all this stuff run by computers today?
Computers are involved, but it still takes craftsmen, artisans,
right,
in order to know how to put the whole thing together. For instance, in embroidery, how well your embroidery item is going to turn out primarily is based on two things. One, the quality of the file. Okay, who took the file and created it so that the embroidery machine can read it.
Perfect.
If the file isn't good or the file's junk, then that's exactly what you're going to get when you try to sew it out. So it starts with that digitizing. Okay.
That's okay. I say that too.
Okay. And having a really, really good file. And then the second most important thing, and it's not the machine or the name of the machine or the name brand of the machine. It's the person that is hooping it and lining it up and then putting it on the machine to be sewn.
Gotcha.
If the digitizing is good and the person who's hooping it is accurate and they're precise and they line it up the way it's supposed to be lined up, when they hit the button, at that point, the machine's just going to sew it and it's going to be perfect. If it's not, more than likely either the design was bad and or the person who was putting it on the machine just didn't take their time. They weren't careful about it. So we have great people that work for us. They do an awesome job. They understand that in this particular, good enough is not good enough. It has to be great. It has to be perfect. If we can see a flaw, and we do this all day long, we see flaws constantly. If we can see a flaw, then we redo it. We don't even send it out.
Gotcha.
That's awesome. That's great. That talk about building trust, right? Like, because Sherry, I've seen you countless of times. Like, nope, this won't do. We got to do that again.
Yeah. It matters, and our employees, our embroidery girl has been in the business for 20 years, and our other employees, she's worked with us for over 13, and if anybody's out there looking to hire people, it's unheard of to have that kind of longevity and that kind of experience all under one roof. So we're very blessed.
Absolutely.
That's awesome. That is phenomenal. Also, I wanted to ask you to dive a little bit deeper on the embroidery. And also, if you can guide us a little bit for embroidery versus printing. Because I know, Sherry, you and I have had really interesting discussions, because there's pros and cons and there's certain limitations. There's color. There's all these little nuances. So for those that are wanting to brand their business and they're really wanting to, just kind of like expand their branding, what are some things to consider when you're thinking embroidery versus printing?
Well, if you're printing something, your color spectrum is just almost unlimited. That when you want to transfer that image from print onto anything embroidered, there's not unlimited numbers of thread. So if you are not careful, the red that you want in your print is not going to be available in that red thread. So you have got to be careful and very mindful that it goes across every medium. What you say?
Yeah, and what happens is most designers, most graphic designers live in the print world.
Right.
So they're used to having literally a billion different colors and variations and shades and shading and so on and so forth. And most in this, especially in this day and age, high-end quality printers can print all of that.
Right.
They don't live in the embroidery world where at most you've got 16 threads that you can do at one time, or the laser engraving world where really you only have black and white. That's it. So a lot of it is producing that original file that of the artwork, how it's produced. Is it produced just for print, or is it also been adapted for embroidery and or laser engraving or sublimation or something else that doesn't deal with the billion different colors?
Gotcha.
Is that something you guys could help with? So, for example, I have a brand that I, had a designer develop, and obviously he or she had free range to do the most creative thing possible. And now it's time to put it in an embroidery, more physical world, and there's going to need to be some adapting. Is that something you guys could help with?
Absolutely. We can help you. Then you've got those thread colors to put in that branding guide where regardless of where that person goes, they are all, their shirts or their whatever they're putting it on is always going to be that exact color. It's a lot easier to tweak your print color than it is to tweak your thread color.
Yeah.
You probably have maybe 1,000 different thread colors all total from all the different thread companies. But comparing that to the unlimited number of colors you have when you're doing print, that's a very small percentage. So we can usually find something that matches, but where it becomes difficult is when there's so many colors in print on whatever they're doing versus how many colors we can do when it comes to either laser engraving and or embroidery.
Yeah. And I've noticed that especially more now with everything going more digital, logos getting a little bit out of control with like gradients and lots of colors, and it being more of a photograph, not a vector.
Like ours.
Yeah.
Yours is going to be just fine.
Well, I know, but I think from my days of graphic design and printing, you got this ink swatch, right? You flip through and it shows all the colors of ink, right? And a lot of people designing stuff think that there's probably matching threads to go with each of those colors, and that's not the truth. The bottom line is you got to look at the thread colors and make sure that you're picking something very close to the ink book, which is about that thick and hundreds of different color variations. So big difference between embroidering and print, that's for sure. And I don't think people consider that. I think if they design a logo, they think that you can match it up with anything on embroidery.
Jordan, that's your specialty. That's going to set you apart. You're going to start with your thread color and go over to
There you go. Right. Rule number 1, start with your thread color.
See me first, Jordan.
Start with the smallest palette first. In web design is similar too.
I think Georgie's hinting to you about.
Yes. Well, it's best practices. I was going to say it's a similar process with web design too. You should always start with mobile first because that's the smallest real estate.
Exactly. Bingo.
And then, once you get to desktop, you have all the room in the world. But if you start with a desktop and then try to cram it all into a phone, it doesn't work quite as well.
No.
Exactly.
Right. Yep. And same concept.
Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool. And it's just one of those awesome things about physical things. Everything is so digital nowadays that it's just so awesome to have something physical. And even you can get a shirt printed, but just having the embroidery, having the texture, the way it catches the light is just so special.
And Jordan, we didn't ask him this: is what kind of format file do you prefer to come into you, and what sizes? Do you like small, medium, large in your graphic design, and what formats will you accept you can play with?
What we prefer is any kind of a vector file, Adobe Illustrator, EPS,
Good.
Anything along those lines, PDF print. If we have a large PNG file, 1 meg or larger, we can usually make that work, or we can convert it to a vector file. A lot of it just depends on how much editing needs to be done.
Gotcha.
We can do some editing, but we don't have anyone in house that really does that. So
Right.
if a file requires a tremendous amount of editing, then we have to send it out, and obviously at that point it becomes a little more expensive.
Sure.
So most people have a graphic designer who's kind of designed the file in the first place. They have the files already saved. It's a lot easier and less expensive for them to make those adjustments and changes than it is for us, because we, in essence, really have to kind of start from scratch,
Right.
as opposed to being able to pick up where we left off. So vector files are the best. You can blow them up the size of a building, and you do not lose any quality. I mean, it's just as precise on the side of a building as it basically would be in a 2 by 2 inch circle. So
Gotcha.
And then of course the embroidery part, everything has to be converted to a PST file. That's where you get into the digitizing, and that's the primary file that most embroidery machines will read is that PST file.
DST.
Okay.
Yes.
So you guys would do that.
Yes,
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah.
We're not usually really happy with someone else's DST file. So we often will take that and create it ourselves.
Yeah.
All right.
I was going to say you probably.
Oh, I am echoing. Can you guys hear it, or is this just me?
Yeah.
It's just you. Do you hear an echo?
No.
Okay, then I'll just ignore it. But I was just remembering how you mentioned the DST file. That is one of the two differences to make a good embroidery file or a good product.
Exactly. Yeah, and it gets back to that embroidery. Primarily, quality depends on two things: the file and the person that did the hooping, the person that put it on the machine.
Gotcha.
That's great.
Jordan, somebody's got something. Maybe it's a phone or a loop. Or somebody's looping. Maybe it's the volume on a phone or something. Doesn't matter.
I don't keep the other phone on, do you?
That's it.
I can.
No. I'm trying to think if there's. I thought I turned everything.
You're
on.
fine. It's me and Jordan on our end.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
All right.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys don't hear it. We'll just have to roll with it.
We'll fight through it. We don't care.
All right.
But another thing I wanted to ask you too is, who is your ideal client?
Go ahead. I like all clients. No matter how big or how small your order. Russ, who do you like?
Well, I mean, obviously, we like all of our clients. We like all of our customers. The easiest client to work with, let's put it that way. And I hope he doesn't mind. I'm going to use Jonathan Killiam as an example, who owns American National Insurance. He does equine insurance, primarily the horse ranches, horses, horse shows, stuff like that. And he came to us and basically just said, okay, I need a brand. I need a pop-up. I need some banners. I need some things I can take to trade shows. He spends a lot of time at trade shows. I need things that I can hand out, promotional type items. And he just kind of said, man, just create this for me and then let me see it. So we did. We literally put together the whole package. We had to tweak some things. Some things were a little more expensive than what he wanted to spend. Other things, were perfect. Some of the designs we came up with, he liked. Some of them, weren't so good. So working together, we managed to create what I think is just a great package. And if you ever see him at any kind of an event, he's going to stand out. When someone walks into a trade show, they may live in the middle of the city and have no desire whatsoever to learn anything about horse insurance. But because his presence is so great and so awesome, you're just going to walk over to basically see how everything fits together. So that's going to get you into his space, to start. And then from there, well, now we've got him to the space. Now it's up to you to basically sell your goods. And that's our job. Our job is to basically get the phone to ring, get someone to visit you, get someone to come over and ask you about whatever it is that you happen to offer. Once that happens, well, now it's your job to kind of close the sale, if you will.
Russ has said often, you know what, we can only make you look as good as you allow us to. And that's very true.
Well, actually, you're the one that says that, not me.
Well, it sounds better.
Yeah, okay, yeah. No, Sherry does. I mean, she does. I mean, it really is. And we're not saying it doesn't have to cost a ton of money. You can do it, and you can do it very reasonably. But you want to plan it out. You don't want to just do, shirts, and then the next week you're doing hats, and then the next week, well, I need business cards, and the next week, well, no, I think I want to do a pop-up. I mean, create a plan so that you know where you want to go, you know what you want it to look like when you get to the end or when you get to the goal, and then figure out what the map is. How do I get there, and get there with a reasonable investment.
That's phenomenal. And to recap a little bit of what you're saying, it really does sound to me that who stands to gain the most from working with you guys is somebody that needs that collaboration.
Absolutely. From start to finish, and then we'll circle back around.
That's awesome. Sometimes we need a little bit of help along the road and just hold our hands sometimes. We're not experts on everything.
Right, and we're not, but we have the resources. For instance, our digitizer is a third-party digitizer that we found about 3 years ago. He's very reasonable to the point that we don't even charge our clients for digitizing. That's how reasonable he is. But we have found nobody better than him. And he will turn a file around normally in less than 24 hours. So we're not waiting a week to get the file back, and then we've got 3 weeks or 2 weeks to do production. And he just does quality files. So we're never jammed up because all of a sudden the digitized file doesn't work, or it's not right, or there's not good enough quality. And his name is Fred, and he really is. I mean, he is a third party, and so we send everything out to him, and he sends everything back. And even if we already have a DST file, quite often we'll look at it and we'll say, okay, this isn't gonna work. So we'll send it to Fred and say, okay, Fred, clean this up for us, and then send it back. But but we don't. He's so reasonable that we don't have to charge our customers a digitizing fee, and that's very unusual. If you go to most embroidery shops, the first time they do your logo, and every time that you want to change it, they're going to charge you a digitizing fee that's normally starts around $75 and goes up from there, depending on the complexity of the image that they're digitizing.
I think a lot of times that prevents people from, if you're not really happy, but you don't want to invest that money to switch who's doing it, then you just figure good enough is good enough. We don't want anyone to ever be in that position. We want it to be the best it can be. So we'll take on that fee. Bring us your logo.
You'll make it work.
Yeah,
We
we'll
will.
make it work. We will. Yeah, absolutely.
And so for people listening to this and are getting a little excited, it's like, yeah, I want to get my brand out there. I really want to present myself better. What are the typical turnaround times for embarking on these branding projects?
Go ahead.
Turnaround time. Upon approval, that is the key. If you send us something and we send you a proof back and you don't open your email for another week, guess what? Your order's now a week later. So usually we like to be between 10 to 14 days turnaround from approval. That's the key.
Yeah, that's that's important to chime in and say, hey, yes, go ahead, because then you turn it and it goes out.
The industry standard also, because of the nature of customization, once we create the digitized file, we have to pay our digitizer. Okay, so we have an instant investment, and then obviously once we sew an item and it has your logo on it, we can't sell it to someone else. So the other part of that is in the industry, it pretty much is, payment is in advance before we even start the order. So once payment is made and the artwork is approved, that's kind of when the clock starts ticking as far as the 2 weeks is concerned.
Okay. And do you guys have a minimum order that you want to take?
No. 2 shirts. Yes, we
Two
would.
shirts?
2
Okay.
shirts.
2 shirts. Okay, I'm sorry.
Please do at least 2. They can be different color shirts. They can be different color. We can do an off-white logo and your color logo, but do 2 shirts.
That's awesome.
Basically, there's no order too small. Now, obviously, the smaller the order, the more it's going to cost. Per order, if you will, or per shirt, if we're only doing one item at a time.
Mm-hmm.
But we have a lot of people. They'll come in and they'll want 1 or 2 shirts for this event, 1 or 2 shirts for that event.
Right.
A polo shirt for their son's baseball game. We do a lot of 1, 2, 3 shirt orders. Now we also do a lot of 500,000-600,000 piece orders as well. So we treat them all the same.
And that's really cool. I think that's really friendly to small businesses, especially as you grow, because maybe you just only have 2 employees, but then more come along, and you can you give us the opportunity and flexibility to be like, hey, I got some more. Can I get some more shirts made?
Right. Yeah. And almost all of our customers are repeat customers. Basically people who come back to us, or they'll come in and we'll do a shirt for them, and they'll go home and they'll compare that shirt, the things that they've gotten in the past, or that hat, the things they've gotten in the past. Well, now all of a sudden they see the quality. Mm-hmm. If you don't have something to compare the old pieces to, if you don't really have a trained eye, you don't really notice it. But all of a sudden, when you've got something that really is high quality, it's lined up correct, it's centered correct, both left and right, up and down. It's parallel, it's straight. It's perfect to the human eye. All of a sudden, it's going, ooh, wow, yeah, this is way better than what I've had in the past. Yeah. And those are the customers that come back and say, okay, from now on, you're doing all of our stuff.
Our friends are getting really good at seeing what is quality and what is not.
Yeah, we train them. Okay. I have one of those eyes where I can be all the way across the room, and if a picture is 1/8 of an inch off, I can see it. My naked eye can see it.
No, this is a true story. This is true. I lined it up, sewed out something, and Russ walked in the shop and he said, right, that's off, that's off. I said, that is not off, that is dead, that is perfect. He said, I can tell. So I got the ruler out because I was going to show him 1/16 is what it was off. 1/16 of an inch. He said, yeah, are you going to redo it? I was like, yeah, of course I am. I was like, 1/16.
So, and it wouldn't be too bad if it was just that I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is I can see it and it bothers me. So it's I'm at someone else's house. It's all I can do not to go straight in the picture.
Yep.
So
the problem is not that you can see it. The problem is you cannot unsee it.
You're right.
Right.
I think one of the funniest things in design when you're putting stuff on shirts and everything is that when you've got a logo that looks lopsided, it's not straight, right? And you put it on straight, but because of the design of it, it always looks different, right? And I just know for a fact that drives people crazy, but if that's how it really looks, that's how it really looks, right? No matter how you put it on a shirt, it's a weird thing. It really is. Yeah.
But there's always something straight in every logo. And
Exactly.
Russ drawn to that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, every logo has a north, a south, an east, and a west when it's designed.
Right.
So it has a straight up and down, and it has that axis going, left and right as well. So it's just finding what that axis is, and then making sure that north and south are straight up and down, and east and west are parallel, both left and right. The logo may not look necessarily straight, but when you put the axis there, it is. Yeah.
So one thing, Jordan, I'm hearing quite a bit about today on this, going through the promotional solutions, is I'm hearing experience matters when it comes to understanding how all this stuff works to help a customer with their brand and making sure everything looks really good. Going through I've also heard things like checklist, double checking product, follow up with clients. I'm hearing really good typical customer service. Do you think the customer service side separates you from a lot of the other companies?
Absolutely. It absolutely does. We have an advantage. Most of our suppliers have huge warehouses in either Grand Prairie, Irving, Fort Worth. So we don't have to store a whole lot of inventory.
That's nice.
Because we can get it in 20 minutes, either from Sanmar or JDS or S&S over in Fort Worth.
That's nice.
So that's another reason why we can turn things out relatively fast. Those are 1 million square feet warehouses. There's no way we could even begin to stock even a small percentage of that. So being in the area that we're at definitely helps. The fact that you're not going to ever have to take it. You're never ever going to have to send it back because it's not right, because it's not going to leave the store if it's not right.
Right.
We're going to catch it before you do. But in order for us to be able to do that, we have to see and handle every single item, even if it's created by a third party someplace. And if it's a $2 million printing machine, well, we can't afford to buy something like that. So if it's an item on that type of a machine, obviously we have a third party that's going to do that. But it comes back into the store. We inspect it. We make sure that it's perfect. It's up to our quality before it goes out to the customer.
Exactly. That's good. Good to know. I just think in today's days and times, a business that has experience in what they do is a big advantage over competition, right? Because they've been through several scenarios. So, and you're in that business. You're in a very competitive business with promotional items. So standing out would have to be huge, because anybody, like you said, Russ, anybody can do a 25-cent pin, but who can do a good $5 pin and really have the customer go, wow, right? So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and we have customers of our customers who literally will look them up at the next trade show and say, hey, that pin I got from you a year ago at such and such trade show. Okay, well, I've worn it out. I need another pin. So the pin's right. So in fact, the pin that I use this is one of our promotional pins, that we do for customers. We did it for ourselves, and it's very reasonable, but it is an awesome pin. And that's absolutely important. The other thing is, any of our businesses, if you call us, someone's answering the phone, or you're going to get a voice message that says, we're not available right now. We will get back to you as soon as possible. There is no tree where you have to push 1 for that, push 5 for this, push 4 for that. And there never will be as long as we're involved. If during business hours, if that phone rings, you've got a real live, honest to good person who's answering the phone.
That's awesome. That's a rare thing nowadays too. You get the computer and a 20-second message giving you all the options. And the one you need is always the last one.
Always.
Right. Yeah.
Now, on something.
And you have to go through the spiel 6 times to try to finally get to someone who can understand that, okay, your options, what I want is not part of your options. So I need to talk to a person.
Yes. And the worst is when it's 0, but it won't unlock it until you're done listening to it. It's like, come on, I know it's 0, just take it.
Right. Yeah.
I like the IVR systems that give you 4 choices. If you don't pick one, it hangs up on you. Love that one. Okay. Really love that one. Can't wait to call that customer back. Can't wait. No.
It amazes me how some businesses stay in business.
Yeah.
Especially in light of the fact that the telephone tends to be kind of your lifeline, to most of your sales, and it seems like it's just not important to them.
I know.
So, it is to us. We want to talk to you. We want to interact.
Yeah, somebody's actually taking the call, which is rare Pick up the phone.
One of the smartest things I ever did for my business was, because I was always with clients in the field. A lot of times I couldn't take the call at the time, and so I had to call them back, which I do. But when I got a Google Voice number, I actually set it up where it would text me what the person said. So I could look briefly at my phone no matter what I was doing and see I got a text message from so-and-so on my phone. And then I knew what I was calling back on. So I could respond to that really quickly. So there are ways around that to communicate with people. But God, we live in a freaking instant gratification world today where everybody, wants us to answer our phones immediately. So, it's not always possible, but at least we call them back quickly and we tell them we do so. So that's great. I love customer service. I think it's huge.
Yeah,
I think I'm still in business since 2008 because I take care of my customers verbally, and I make sure I do follow-up stuff when I don't even have to, because I want to make sure that I'm staying in the loop with them. So congratulations, you guys, for doing the same thing. That's awesome.
Yeah, we agree. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think another thing that makes us a little bit different is when we have a client and we get to know our clients pretty well. And when they mention what they're doing to give back to their community, we really try hard to help give back to whatever they're interested in. And if they're coming in looking for a silent auction item, we're going to give them their silent auction. But when they come pick up, we usually have something that we're going to add and send to it with them as well. So I think that
we do support, and the advantage that we do have is also having the firearms store. So between the firearms store and the promotional business, we support a lot of fundraising for San Antonio Rodeo. A lot of our customers, we support them with their fundraising activities. We've just started something new, speaking of fundraising, and fundraising is kind of part of this package, and that's private school uniforms. And Sherry's the one that kind of went out and spearheaded this. So why don't you talk a little bit about that, and then maybe even name the school here in town that we're doing uniforms for.
Yeah, we are partnering with Bethlehem Children's Academy over on Broad, and their children all wear uniforms. So we made a pop-up store for them, and their families are able to go ahead, come in, order directly. It takes the school out of the middle of it. They don't have to do, exchanging money back and forth. They don't, because they're local, they get an option, once a week or every 2 weeks. I'll run over whoever's order is finished, drop it off. It's packaged per family, and it's been great. So we've got another school signing on next week, and we're real excited about that opportunity.
That's really pretty cool, actually, because there's just a few of those around today.
You're right. And there's going to be more, especially with the passing of the voucher system starting next year and next fall.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
In
Forgot about that.
So the school gets to they get to pick what they want. What uniforms you want, what styles you want, what colors you want. Articles if you want. If you want fundraising articles on there, we can do that as well. So they get to go through and say, okay, this is all the stuff that we want. Then we create a custom site for that school, and it's password protected. So they send the link out to all of their parents. Their parents have to put a password in, and then it lets them into the school. Parents order basically what they want. Everything is they can say, okay, here's all the required items if the school wants to do that. So parents would go in and make sure they have all the required items. Here's the optional items. Parents get to the end, they pay for it with their credit card. We get the production order, we produce it, and then we just deliver it to the school. And all the school has to do is, the parent's name is on it, just basically hand it to that particular family. And it makes the administration part for the school way easier. The other thing is, if something isn't right, it's unlikely it's going to get out. But in the event that it isn't right, or maybe it's the wrong color, maybe it was supposed to be navy and it's black instead. The school is out of the middle. The school can say, hey, here's the number for Promotional Solutions. Call them, they'll make it right. So the school can get on to doing their thing, and the parent calls us, and obviously we're going to bend over backwards to make sure we get that done in the next day or two, and make that particular item the way it's supposed to be made, or
Perfect.
what was supposed to be done. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of the homeschool co-ops, they'll have a meeting, once a week, or they go to the theater or whatever. And so we have a few of those co-op groups that do a polo shirt so they all look the same. So that's been really neat to work with them as well.
That's awesome. So Jordan, can you believe it? We're bumping in top of the hour. It's amazing how fast these things go. But I also want to direct you guys over to this. This is y'all's website, nsg-promotions.com. I encourage you to go check out their website. But better than that, what I'll do when I put this out of archive up onto the channel, I'll make sure I put your contact phone number inside the description box. This link will be highlighted, and we'll also put the questions that you gave us today in there so that people can see exactly what the broadcast is about. And we'll send you all a copy tomorrow. When I get back in town, I'll send you a link. You can share it any way you like. And I'm going to create one short, and Jordan's going to create a package for you guys if you choose it, and help you get some great content from this. So Jordan, any final thoughts?
Yes. So for the people watching the show and have seen the many, many reasons why you guys are the right choice, how do we reach you for a quote?
You can give us a call. You can send us an email. Most of our clients reach out by phone because they're not sure what they want. So we're able to lead them along and help decide what the best package is for them.
And I'll make sure the phone number is incorporated in that too.
You should call me.
And while said that, you should just call us. That's the best way to tell us what you need. Just call us, okay? We'll put that in there. Hey.
So the email address is info@nsg-promotions.com.
Got it. I'll put that in there too, and it'll be a link inside the description box, and I'll make sure I clear that for you guys before I publish it tomorrow. We want to thank everybody for listening. Like I said, our audience will be on demand mainly, which is really cool. People come back in and view it. You guys need to share this out. But the cool thing is today, I think I learned more than I needed to, more than most people would know about promotions and how this stuff's all designed and developed. Just to let you know, they're also working with our business, Mansfield Buzz, that Jordan and I created. So it's really cool to have them starting to work on some of our merchandise. So Sherry, Russ, thank you for being on the Mansfield Buzz today. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. We appreciate it.
If y'all sit tight for a minute, we want to make sure we capture everybody's individual recording. So once I go off the stream, please sit tight for about 5 minutes. Guys, thank you for being part of the YouTube Mansfield Buzz. And Jordan, any final sign-offs?
Thank you. I mean, you guys have been here for your 3 different businesses, and the customer service you guys provide has been just amazing across all of them. So just congratulations and thank you for coming.
All right, guys, we'll see you next Thursday. And I think next Thursday is the first of the month. And being the first of the month means we have Dream Maker Travel back on, going through a very specific type of travel situation and what you need to pack and do with some basic questions. So we're excited about making travel great again. Another customer of the promotion solution. So we'll see you guys next week on YouTube at 2:00. Thanks, you guys. Have a great day.
Thank you. Y'all take care.
Well,